Democrats in disarray. Welcome back, viewers, to the think tank. Let's dive into the current state of the Democratic Party. The dust has settled on another bruising election cycle, leaving the political landscape more fractured than ever. The Democrats find themselves licking their wounds, staring down the barrel of a resurgent Republican Party which has capitalized on their missteps. But the real battle might not be with the opposition across the aisle. It might be brewing within their own ranks. Internal divisions have reached a boiling point, with factions clashing over the party's future direction. The Democratic Party, historically a big tent of diverse ideologies, is looking more like a flea circus right now, full of frantic energy, going nowhere fast, and smelling faintly of desperation. The party's internal struggles, often simmering beneath the surface, have erupted into a full-blown bonfire of discontent, threatening to consume their unity. The question on everyone's lips is, are the Democrats on the verge of implosion, or can they find a way to mend the rifts? Or can they extinguish the flames of infighting and rebuild from the ashes, stronger and more united? Buckle up, folks, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. The future of the Democratic Party hangs in the balance. The Great Ideological Rift. At the heart of the Democratic turmoil lies a fundamental ideological chasm, a rift that has been growing for years but has now become impossible to ignore. On one side, we have the progressive wing, energized by a new generation of firebrands demanding radical change. These activists and politicians are driven by a sense of urgency and a vision for a transformed society. Think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and the Squad. They're not here to play patty cakes with the status quo. They are vocal, unapologetic, and ready to challenge the establishment at every turn. They're here to shake things up, to fight for Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, and a more equitable society. Their agenda is bold, aiming to address systemic issues and bring about sweeping reforms. On the other side, we have the moderate wing, often characterized as the party's old guard, though their ranks include younger figures wary of rocking the boat too hard. These moderates believe in a more cautious approach. These pragmatists like Joe Manchin, back when he was a Democrat, remember those halcyon days? And Kyrsten Sinema, now an independent who still caucuses with the Democrats because politics is nothing if not confusing, favor a more incremental approach, emphasizing bipartisanship and compromise. They argue that slow and steady wins the race. They worry that the progressives' ambitious agenda will alienate moderate voters and hand victories to the Republicans. Their fear is that pushing too hard, too fast, could backfire and lead to electoral losses. This fundamental divide is nothing new, but recent events have thrown it into sharp relief, pushing the two wings further apart and fueling a toxic cycle of recrimination and distrust. The stakes have never been higher, and the future of the party hangs in the balance. Schumer's Shutdown Showdown. One recent example of this internecine warfare was the government shutdown showdown earlier this year. Faced with a Republican-controlled House demanding deep cuts to social programs, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer found himself stuck between a rock and a hard place. Schumer ultimately chose to avert a shutdown by supporting a compromise bill crafted by the Republicans, a move that sparked outrage among progressives, who saw it as a cowardly capitulation to the GOP. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez didn't mince words, blasting Schumer's decision as a tremendous mistake that would only embolden the Republicans. Pelosi, meanwhile, lamented that Democrats were forced to choose between a terrible bill and a terrifying situation. The message was clear. Progressives felt betrayed by their own leadership. The fallout. This latest dust-up has further eroded public confidence in the Democratic Party. Recent polls paint a grim picture. Their approval ratings are circling the drain, plumbing depths not seen since the early 90s. It's not just the polls that should have Democrats worried. Internal criticism is reaching a fever pitch. Senator John Fetterman, never one to sugarcoat his words, recently described the infighting as unhinged petulance. And that, friends, is putting it mildly. The blame game is in full swing, with fingers pointing in every direction. Some blame President Harris's perceived lack of leadership, while others bemoan the party's muddled messaging and inability to connect with working-class voters. Strategies for survival. Charting a course, strategies for survival. So, how do the Democrats pull themselves out of this nosedive? There's no easy answer, no magic bullet to cure what ails them. Some argue that the party needs to tack to the center, appealing to moderate voters with a more pragmatic approach. Others believe they should double down on their progressive agenda, energizing their base and drawing a stark contrast with the Republicans. One thing's for sure, clinging to the status quo is a recipe for disaster. The Democrats need to articulate a clear vision for the future, one that resonates with voters and unites the party, or risk becoming a footnote in American history. The Republican Rejoinder. Meanwhile, across the aisle, the Republicans are having a field day. They are reveling in the chaos that has engulfed the Democratic Party, seeing it as a golden opportunity to strengthen their own position. They're watching the Democratic Party tear itself apart with a mixture of glee and bemusement. The infighting and lack of unity among the Democrats is a spectacle that the Republicans are enjoying immensely. Even Donald Trump, never one to miss an opportunity to throw shade, couldn't resist chiming in. His comments are often sharp and pointed, aimed at highlighting the disarray within the Democratic ranks. He praised Schumer's handling of the shutdown, tweeting, "Even a broken clock is right twice a day." Sad. Trump's tweets are a constant reminder of the political theater playing out. The Republicans know that a divided Democratic Party is their best asset. They are strategically planning their next moves, fully aware that unity on their side could lead to significant gains. They're more than happy to sit back, munch on popcorn, and watch the show. The spectacle of Democratic disunity is both entertaining and advantageous for them. After all, why interfere when your opponents are doing such a bang-up job of self-destruction? The Republicans are content to let the Democrats continue their internal battles. The question remains, can the Democrats get their act together before it's too late? The clock is ticking and the stakes are high. Or will their internal divisions pave the way for another Republican romp in the next election cycle? Only time will tell. The political landscape is ever changing and the future remains uncertain.